Hi there and welcome to Ambitious Single Moms, Stories of Strength and Success. I'm Sonja from Your Success Story, Single Mom Level Up Edition, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. I'm a mother of 3 wonderful daughters, and when my husband separated from me in 2017, he moved out on a Sunday and the next morning my mother died unexpectedly. During this time, I was although in the middle of chemotherapy. Suddenly, I'm all alone with 3 small children. As a single mom and a businesswoman, I know firsthand how challenging and rewarding this journey can be. When I first became a single mom, I felt overwhelmed and uncertain about the future. But through support and consistency, I've managed to build a life that I'm proud of, both for myself and my 3 children. This podcast is all about celebrating the incredible stories of ambitious single moms who are not only raising their children with love and dedication, but also pursuing their dreams and building successful businesses. Each episode, we will dive into their journeys, exploring the heights and lows, the lessons learned, and the strategies they've used to overcome challenges. My goal is to inspire, motivate, and provide valuable insights for all the amazing single moms out there who are striving to create a better future for themselves and their families. Remember, you are not alone on this journey, and there are endless possibilities when you take charge of your life. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Ambitious Single Moms, Stories of Strength and Success. I'm your host Sonja Zipser, and I'm beyond excited to be joined today by the amazing Emma from the UK. Hello Emma.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you that you are prepared to join me and to share your journey. So, for how long have you already been divorced, Emma?
So it's over 10 years now, so a little while. So it feels as though quite a bit of my life has been as single mum. But this story started 16 years ago when I had my baby twins. And they were born very early at 31 weeks, and we found our lives taking very much of a change, and spending a couple of months in various neonatal units and leaving the hospital without one of my baby twins, Morgan, who couldn't get over the virus that they contracted whilst they were in the hospital. So as with all women, and we start our mother journey, and it changes us so much. We go from having our career as our primary focus to suddenly having somebody that's so dependent on us, and that love from them that's so unconditional, which you don't know until you experience it for the first time. Into life as a mum that was both extremely happy but grieving a lot. Fast forward 2 years and my husband left for the other side of the world. So my journey as a single mum was kind of thrown on me, unexpected, while I was still grieving, still trying to fight the hospitals, and having to raise my first child on my own. And I went through the process of, I lost my job, my career, because it just wasn't flexible enough to parent on my own. And I threw myself into volunteering at the same time. So I was talking on stage to other healthcare professionals to tell them about my experience as a parent in the neonatal unit for Bliss, the premature baby charity, but also befriending a lovely mummy through Tamba. the Twins and Multiple Births Association, who'd lost one of her baby twins also. So we had that one thing in common. So yes, so my volunteering started from kind of then on, and yes, I suppose it was part of my healing journey, my volunteering, but I had no idea, I think, where it was going to end up, and I'm still doing part of that volunteering, but I'm also part of that service now. And it's amazing to be able to bring other parents, other neonatal parents that have very different experiences, every single one of them, to be heard by that system, what their experiences were and what they needed at that time, to be able to develop that service alongside service users. So I feel very privileged to have been in that position, and to be leading that group.
Wow, Emma, yeah, so thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, it's very tough of you that you were on stage and are on stage to help others, and now here helping other divorced moms. And what I can say from all the podcasts I've recorded now, so many women are not dealing with one issue, with the divorce, but most of the time we have a lot of other things we have to deal with as a single mom. For you, it was still the grief about losing one of your kids. That's one of the toughest things we have to go through, losing someone. And I would like to go back to the moment when your husband left you. How were your feelings about you, your own feelings? How did you feel as a woman?
I didn't recognize myself as a woman, really. I'd lost myself somewhere in this process. I don't know whether that was through the trauma which I experienced, or subsequently what occurred afterwards. I'm very aware that I was struggling emotionally a lot with washing my hands a lot because of being in the neonatal unit and thinking I had to do that for my other baby to survive, and not going out because it was the middle of the winter and I didn't want her to get another virus, so I was starting to lose my friends, and I hadn't realised the name calling and what I was experiencing at home, the control which was happening, because it was just a lot of emotions all at the same time. So it wasn't until that 2 years when he said he was going across the other side of the world to work, that for the first time it was like a blanket had been lifted. Mm. So although I was like, panicking a lot, how am I going to do this logistically and emotionally, I also felt a huge relief, like something had been lifted, like something felt a bit easier. And by golly, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. But somehow we just became two peas in a pod. We just it's really hard, but it's something which I say to us mummies that are trying to do it all. It doesn't matter about being perfect, and it took me a long time to realize that. It's about doing what works for us both, and if that meant leaving all of the washing up until the next day, then I did that, because that meant doing some crazy out, pretending we were in a plane or something. So I realized that early on, and I did feel very lost. But it wasn't long before the control started from the other side of the world, and I had to toughen up, and I had to I had to sell our house, so I was taken through court and told to sell the house, and fighting for what I put into that house. And then as soon as that one was over, then there was another court case raised for access to my daughter, even though I'd had not a day of support in being able to look after her. So 3 years in court followed, and that really tested me as a person. I lost my job, and I couldn't afford a solicitor. We all know how expensive the solicitors could be, so I was representing myself. And obviously this involved magistrates court, so it was retelling my story of loss to over 9 different jury members. So it was going over and over that trauma, you know, so that was 3 years, 4 years, 5 years post-trauma. I was still living all of that. So yes, it wasn't just that I found myself alone trying to parent. I was trying to be almost a solicitor and a brother and a dad and a friend. It was a very tough time.
You were so brave. And what made you going on? What kept you going?
You know, I think about this and I look back to kind of journal entrants I made back in those days, and it was my daughter. She's truly my little savior. She reminds me every day of the two of them and the love I feel for them both, and making her life the best that I could possibly make it. Through everything she's been through, and she's fought and she's battled. And she was just so tiny when she was born, and just watching her over the years turn into the most wonderful little girl, and now the most wonderful young lady that she has. You know, she's been a miracle. Neonatal babies are a miracle. But she's turned into somebody that looks out for all of her friends. And she always knows when somebody's not feeling quite right. And actually it took me a while for somebody to turn around and just say, you know, we're not lucky, you know, they're not just good. You know, we've done something amazing. We have done something amazing, and I did that alone.
Yes, you're really a strong woman, Emma, and thank you so much for joining your story. And I hope that other women can see that we are capable to do it. And you just mentioned it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's just about doing it. And nobody is doing things perfectly. And we can't expect. I just saw the other day a film that was actually about that. It was also mentioned that we can't expect from other people that they are doing something perfectly, and we are not able to do that as well. And it's only about doing it and giving our best. And of course, we can always improve, but now at the moment we give our best. And tomorrow it may be a bit less because we are weaker or struggling. And the next day it's more again because we have more strength. But every day it's the best we are at the moment capable to do. That's what it's all about.
That is so true. And, you know, whether it was the day that I woke up and all I could do was sit and watch a movie under a duvet with her, or whether we needed to just spend a whole day of just doing arts and crafts, we look back now on those times with so much joy and so much. I'm so grateful for those times. They were all mad and they were all they were all unplanned, and they were all not what my children, but they were perfect, and we just got so many lovely, happy memories to look back on, and funny stories to tell, and we were always making each other laugh, and still are very close, even though we're going through teenage years now.
And you also mentioned when your husband left you to go for work on the other side of the world, you also felt released. So looking back, sometimes we can see that maybe there is a gift in a separation or in a divorce, because you also told me that he, how did you say it? That he put pressure on you for 3 years. Do you want to talk about this a bit and share?
Yes, it was, it's really difficult when I think, I had no bruises. I had nothing that I could say to anybody I was going through anything. But I'd realized over time I'd been called so many names that I'd actually believed that I was weak and I was pathetic, and that I didn't have any friends, and that over a long period of time really sucks all of your energy out of you. On top of what I was going through, it took a lot to make me realize that was wrong, and I was different. I hadn't seen that, and it was very easy to kind of blame those changes on my loss, or think that was part of my loss, but actually it wasn't. And it was actually when I got nominated to carry the Olympic torch.
Oh.
And I was interviewed for that. So a once in a lifetime opportunity. And when I was talking then, I realized, this isn't right. Actually what I'm doing is amazing. Every day that I carry on is amazing. And every person that I touch and help is amazing. And yeah, I think that, along with some charity things that I did, raising money and really pushing myself physically, I think they were changing points for me, where I realized, I've got a strength in me that I didn't know existed, and that I can find myself again, and I will find myself again. And it was small steps, but it was the best thing that happened to me. To be able to dig deep and to find myself again, and that strength.
Yeah, well, congratulations that you were able to carry the Olympic torch and the fire. And yeah, I think we need to have moments like that. For me, it was once I was actually at the I had a cancer diagnosis, and I was at the hospital, and I got a phone call, and I was in the middle of talking to psychologist.
Yes.
And I was very down, and I got a phone call, and it was from a radio station that I had won 4 tickets for a concert. And my eyes went big, and I was suddenly, woo, yeah. And the man, I can't remember, it was a woman. Yes, she said, "Oh, you need more moments like that, because they lift you up, they give you power, and it can be anything. Also, just walking on in the forest, something that fills your heart and that lights you up. Dancing, you can also dance alone. Something that cheers you really up. We need moments like that, and we shouldn't wait until someone does something for us. We can do it on our own. We can go back and think, okay, what is it that I like to do as a kid.
Yes.
And then if you are not happy at the moment, I always told myself, so what can I do today? Because it's on me to make me happy. So what is it that I love to do? Once I just, when my kids were with their dad, I watched a movie that was so funny. And a few days before, I asked friends, hey, do you have a film recommendation for me? Because I would like to see a film that makes me laugh, really laugh. And I was lying on the sofa, and if I wouldn't have lain on the sofa, I would have fallen down because I was laughing so loud and hard, and it was so funny, and it lifted me so up, and it cheered me up again. And it's up on us to do.
You are very right. It is those small little things that make a lot of difference. And sometimes it does take somebody else to remind you to do those things. And what you're doing with these podcasts, I think, is an amazing thing to remind us all out there that it is about finding those little things that spark joy and doing more of them. And like you say, and appreciating, walking outside and going somewhere where it's quiet and actually watching and taking some breaths and being mindful, and finding those things that used to make you happy. And I was lucky because I suddenly had a little one, so I could be a child all over again and crawl through the soft play and do tree rubbings and get completely messy and bake and everything. But to any of us can go back and do any of those things. And it's important, and it changes us, and it changes the way we feel.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just mentioned at that time your kid was little and you were lucky to have moments of joy and maybe craziness. But now your daughter is already, I guess she's 16 now and or just turned 17?
She's just turned 16.
16.
Yeah. So she's just turned 16.
So now it's another period of life. The kids are not so, most of the time, so happy, and that also, they are emotionally. So how do you deal this? Because we also talked about menopause, and we struggle with ourselves as women and everything. Then we have the kids, they struggle with, Pubertät, we call it in German. When the kids grow older, especially the girls with emotional stuff. How do you deal with that?
It's I think every stage is a new challenge, isn't it? They talk about the 2s and then they talk about the 5s, but I think there's something for every year, and this is a new one that I have to deal with. And my way of dealing with that is to get as much knowledge as I can and to try and listen to books. And I want to get it as right for her, but I also want to get it as right for me now. Like you say, going through the menopause, and all of my feelings are changing right at the same time that all of her feelings are changing. And it could be a household that's very loud and full of shouting quite easily. But it's about finding ways together and reestablishing some of the things which we used to do when she was a bit younger, and remembering some of those mad funny times together. And it's always going to be different now, and her friends are very important to her, and at first that made me feel very lonely because it's been just the 2 of us for so long. But I'm trying to see that as an opportunity to rediscover myself. I've said that I've done bits of that through my volunteering and things, but it's always been around, school runs and although it's still mum's taxi, now they're teenagers, there's an independence there which has suddenly made me feel, actually, this is time for me to find a hobby, what really interests me. And, whether that's even thinking about, retraining in a different career, and because I'm so different to the person that I was. So, yeah, it's again, it's not easy, and we've had lots of tears between us. Something which she's never done before, so that's a new thing as well. So it feels as though every day I'm learning something new about her, and I'm sure she's learning something new about me, and we're finding a way of working together, and looking forward to every day.
Yeah, that's so true. I have 3 daughters between 15 and 20, so it's ups and downs. It's normal. And I just told them on Christmas Eve that, yeah, we have ups and downs and it's okay. And we fought a few days before Christmas and everything seemed to collapse. But I said, yeah, it's okay. And so important that we breathe again and excuse maybe and forgive each other and keep on talking normal to each other with no hate or something like that. And yeah, and you just mentioned so important that you also have to look after yourself and see what is important for you. And that's what we moms, especially also maybe single moms, most of the time forget, that they are important as well.
Yeah, and it is so much, and at every stage for a mother, what we can do for ourselves is going to look different as we get different periods of time, and they need us in different ways. So yeah, I think it's a constant kind of moving beast type thing. And I had a little bit of time for myself and fitted some things in, but now I've suddenly got a chunk of time, and it's really, I think it's really important to recognise that there's that chunk of time now. So I don't just sit and clean or something every time I get those pockets of time, that I actually think about what I would like to do with my time. So yeah, it's like you say, it's really important to remember us, and to be able to stay strong for them, because they do still need us, just in a different way, and we need to be the best version of ourselves to be able to support them in the way that they need supporting.
Yeah, they will always need us. Also, when they are 30, they will
Yeah,
come ask for advice. But you mentioned also that you felt at the beginning lonely, and that's a problem when we focus too much on our children and forget ourselves and don't cultivate our hobbies anymore and give them up. That's what we also see when people stop working when they're older and they don't
yeah,
have a hobby or something like that. Then, yeah, they feel lonely and don't know what to do. Though
yeah,
it's not egoistic um, to have something on the side for yourself, doing something you love, like reading or going out for dance or whatever it is, painting. And yeah, I think it's also important that our kids see that we take ourselves important.
yeah.
Um,
You're very right. Yeah, it's an important message to them.
yeah,
And I think it's really important, like you say, that that we shouldn't feel guilty for having that bit of time for ourselves, and recognizing when we need something as well. And my friends have been lifelines, and I've learned to ask them when I've really needed help, and that's okay. And they become part of your family. And they're like second parents to my daughter, and she
yeah,
makes herself at home in their homes, but it's okay. And if I needed that bit of time, then I can recuperate and strengthen myself up again, and then carry on.
yeah, yeah. absolutely important, and it wasn't easy for me either to ask for help. But yes, it is important that we allow ourselves to be weak, and even if you're not weak, sometimes it's also just, you need help. We are not able to do everything on your own, and just to accept this and to ask for help, that's very important.
Yeah, and you're right, it isn't weakness at all. But that's the way we view it, isn't it? When we think, we think that's weak if we need to ask for help, but it isn't weak at all. It's actually very brave to be able to reach out, to recognize that we need a bit of help. And it can make all the difference. Sometimes just a cup of tea and a piece of cake with a friend just change the way you feel completely.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Emma. So do you have last words for our listeners? Is there something you want to share?
Just thank you so much for this experience, and I hope that people can take away, those different parts of my story where I found the strength to carry on, and to turn a negative experience into a positive experience, and to walk away still hoping to achieve, and to continue becoming me.
Amazing. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Ambitious Single Moms, Stories of Strength and Success. It's been an absolute pleasure having Emma share her incredible journey and insights with us today. I hope you found her story as inspiring and empowering as I did. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or any questions you have for our guest. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. All the links and additional resources about Emma and myself can be found in the show notes below. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue bringing you amazing content. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep thriving. See you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us on Ambitious Single Moms, Stories of Strength and Success. Let's embark on this journey together and rediscover the magic in our lives. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode.